I've never gotten back with an ex.
Yes, I got back with my ex,
No, I haven't gotten back with an ex.
but it didn't work.
I tried once.
I don't like to move backwards, I like to move forward.
And you sort of build a bond, and there's the chemistry that doesn't go away.
Once it was over for me, it was over for both of us.
Have you ever gotten back together with an ex? The temptation to slide back is always there. Picture this. You break up with your boo and manage to stay apart for a while. But when the reality of separation sets in, you send a late night text you just know you'll regret the next day. Even though you know the best thing is to go cold turkey, the truth is it's not just a matter of willpower when it comes to staying away from your ex. Falling back into old habits is pretty common, and part of it is due to unconscious activity in our brains. So why do we get back with our exes? People tend to look back on old relationships with rose-colored glasses. When we start reminiscing about fun vacations and long, late-night conversations with our exes, we naturally want to give things another try. But why? It isn't just nostalgia that compels us to pick up the phone. The urge to get back with an ex is hardwired in our brain's reward and pleasure system. And the most important chemical in that system? Dopamine.
Dopamine is the neurotransmitter of what we call salience, meaning something is important. And it's the brain's way of saying, wake up, pay attention, this is what's really important. So you get surges of dopamine whenever you see something that you like or love.
Ever wonder why you can't think of anything else but your ex when you're going through a breakup? Blame your brain. Dopamine also controls those all-consuming feelings of desire and plays a major part in drug addiction.
When someone is in the throes of romantic love, when they're obsessively thinking about the person, they're going to have surges of dopamine. We see those kinds of surges of dopamine also with any kind of pleasurable experience, so the use of drugs or alcohol, sex, any kind of rewarding activity, you'll get dopamine. And so for some people who get addicted to those substances or to those kinds of experiences, there might be that temptation to return to those activities or people.
That said, dopamine is only one part of the equation. Another hormone that makes you pine for your ex is oxytocin. Oxytocin plays a huge role in human bonding from as early as birth. Evolutionarily, the bonds oxytocin create have helped humans protect each other and survive.
This is a hormone that is associated with intimacy, with trust, with bonding. It's been called the cuddle hormone. Couples who are in close, loving relationships have higher measurable levels of oxytocin at their baseline. I think intuitively it makes sense that there would be lower levels of oxytocin in the absence of that relationship.
Physiologically speaking, dopamine sends signals to the brain that our ex is important to us, and oxytocin reminds us that we're biologically bonded to our partner. Psychologically though, the more time we've invested in someone, the more likely we are to want to stay with them. It's like buying something expensive. You wouldn't want to throw something away that you paid for with hard-earned cash. And the same goes for the time you've dedicated to your ex. This is called the investment model, and there are 3 parts to it. The first part is your own satisfaction in a relationship.
So basically your ratio of good things in the relationship to bad things in the relationship, and your subjective rating of that compared to other relationships, or maybe looking at your friends and looking at their relationships. There's what we call quality of alternatives, so that's subjective rating of looking at the dating pool. Do I have any better options out there? The third one is what we call investment, so how much time and money you've put into the relationship. Do you have a pet together? Do you have a kid together?
If you're already feeling better about getting back with your ex at this point, here's more good news. It's incredibly common to do so, and we've got the numbers to prove it. Renee Daly, a researcher at the University of Texas at Austin, has conducted numerous studies about on and off relationships.
So up to 2/3 of individuals have experienced an on-off relationship at some point in their dating history. And if you ask people, is your current relationship or your most recent relationship on-off in nature? And about 1/3 to 45% will say yes to that. We also find that the average number of renewals tends to be about 2.5 times. And that usually ranges from 1 renewal to about 10.
If what you really want from your ex is a healthy relationship that works, here's what you need to know. It's important to talk about what you can do so both partners are satisfied in the relationship.
The breakups tend to probably be due to communication difficulties within the relationship or problematic behaviors or undesirable behaviors by the partner. I would probably suggest, based on our research, is having that explicit discussion. If you want the cycling to end, It might mean a permanent dissolution, permanently breaking up, but it could also lead to a more stable relationship in which you have better communication patterns. You got to find out if that other person has the same goal for your relationship as you do. And if you don't, maybe it's time to part ways. If you do have the same goal, then it's a chance to work on things that aren't working and make the relationship better.
But here's something that might surprise you. Some people in on and off relationships actually reported higher relationship satisfaction than those in more permanent situations.
The uncertainty creates sort of a certain mystery or novelty of the relationship, or certain excitement. And so I think for some on-off partners, having those ups and downs, and especially the renewals, is kind of exciting, and they like that about the relationship, so they don't necessarily need to reduce their uncertainty.
So even though we all tend to be drawn back in because of biology, some people enjoy the cyclical nature of relationships because of the mystery and mystique. But most of us break up and get back together because of a breakdown in communication and a failure to convey and address issues. If you're thinking of getting back together with your ex, remember, it's totally normal. But that doesn't mean it's the best decision. In the end, it's really up to you.